guys, we're coming on the next phase of this build where we're getting ready to put the whole thing together. And as usual, I just can't help myself and I decided to start adding more details. So let me break it down exactly what I'm doing here. Now the first thing you'll notice, I've added a headliner. This is made from felt material which I have picked up from Hobby Lobby. This stuff is available in different thicknesses, many different colors, and makes pretty decent headliner material. Is it perfect? I think it could have been a little bit thinner, but it served its purpose pretty good and really mimics the GM rat fur headliner that we all remember from the 80s. Now, the next thing I did was create sun visors and the the overhead, sorry, stuck in Mercedes land, the dome light assembly. Which I don't know if you guys can make it out here, but we have the dome light assembly along with the lights that I painted in, and then I actually made small, tiny buttons to simulate the buttons in our Fiero dome lights. I'll just put a picture right here of what an original Fiero dome light looks like so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So that is adding all of the interior detail that was lacking from the kit. Now the only thing I have to add is a third brake light, and that will be complete as far as the headliner is concerned. Now the next thing that I'm working on is the B-pillar interior panels here, which the kit doesn't bring. As you can see, it's going to be a very thin opening on the door there, which I didn't think that looked realistic enough. So I started working on the interior paneling here. This is for the right side of the car. I'm making this from sheet styrene. I'm using the thick, I forget exactly how thick this styrene is, but you can see there. It's a pretty thick piece, which comes out to scale-wise looking very similar to what's in the car. Now, it's taking a lot of shaving and carving and sanding to get this thing to the right shape. What I've been doing is I've got another one of these models, and I'm using this as a test fit for this interior panel. Now, that's going to sit right there in the model and give us our interior paneling there, which will add a little thickness to that B-pillar, make it look a little bit more realistic. So I've managed to get it almost exactly where I want it. I still have a little bit of work to do to it to really get it to fit perfectly, but it's almost there. Now that's going to sit right in here once it's painted gray to match the interior of the car, so that when you look at the B-pillar, you're going to see that there is a little bit of substance there. Now, it's not just a thin sheet of plastic, and you'll actually see the paneling in there, which will give it much more of a realistic look. So I've been working on this one here for a little over an hour, and I've got it almost where I want it, and now I have to start working on the other one. Now, the way I created these was to take my spare kit and I put a little bit of piece of tape in there to make a stencil for the panel. So this stencil's already been removed because it's for the right side of the car. Now I have to start on the left side. So I'm going to take that stencil out, carve it out of here, and then start shaping and sanding and filing the same way I did with the first one. And that's going to add another little bit of detail that's missing from this car. And as I'm going along, I'm going to try and see what else I can add to it. I'm thinking of maybe using a little bit of styrene rod here to add the interior paneling on the A-pillars that wraps around. as the car does have a little bit of molding that wraps around there. If I can get something that's small enough to add the look that I want without appearing to be completely out of scale. So I'll have to see what I have to match it and try and see if I can create those moldings as well. Not sure if that's going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. Now once I get these things painted, cut up, and fitting correctly, they will be painted, and then that will be it for the interior work. And then it'll be time to mate the interior, the chassis, and the body together to finally have one full completed assembly. And then comes all the extra detail work that's going to be added to that. So I don't know, well, I was hoping to have this finished as the last build of this year, but I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm going to give it a shot. So let's just keep going on this and see how far we can get. Alright, this is one of the finished B-pillar trim pieces. As you can see, just figured I'd give you guys a little close-up look at it. Now, what I had to do was I had to round off the forward edge so it looks like a finished trim piece and not just a piece of styrene. Then what I had to do was to chamfer in the inside part so that it would slide in over the raised edge. I don't know if you can see it here. There's a raised edge which is for the indent for the sail pillar panel. So if you can see it there. So now this just kind of slots in right over that raised edge for a really nice finished look. And now sits flush against the panel. The only thing it may need may be a little bit of a bend to it to match the bend of the body. So we'll just give it a little tweak there. And then when we're ready to glue it in, after some paint, it'll sit right in there like that, giving us a nice beefy little B-pillar panel there. So now I have to get set to make the second one, so you guys can just hang out while I guess, build this one. Let's cue some music. Okay, now we have both of our B-pillar trim panels done. Now we're going to send them off to a little bit of paint. And then get them installed. Alright, now we're going to start installing it. Now, for the install, I'm using my trusty Tested non-toxic cement, because I need something that's a little slower acting so that I can make all my adjustments. So now we have the part painted, the interior color. We have our black edges to simulate the urethane that the windshield is bonded to, and the rubber seals. So now we're just going to install this here. Now we'll install the second one. And then it's just a waiting game until everything dries. Alright guys, here we go with the completed B-pillar paneling. Now, much like in the real car, you can see the paneling on the B pillar right behind the sail panel, which is very much like on the real car. And in the back, the black painting I did there, it's meant to simulate the urethane that bonds the rear glass, and just kind of helps blend everything together. So there we go. That completes one of the last remaining items on this interior. So you can see all the modifications done to this interior so far. Just a couple more things to go, and then we can finally bond the body to the chassis. So we're getting close. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one.